Tower troops are, right now, one of the most important and game-changing mechanics in all of Clash Royale. Yet, even more important than evolutions. Well, at least in my opinion. I mean, think about it. Since the game came out almost 10 years ago, all we had was our poor little princess sitting on top of that tower. Her only job, shooting arrows at the same speed forever. That's it. That was the base game for years. But now we've got 4 completely different options that change everything. Each one brings a different style of play that just didn't exist before. Now you can have the Cannoneer that melts tanks, the Dagger Duchess that shuts down barrels, and the Royal Chef. Yes, the one behind that infamous Goblin Giant incident back in September of 2025. There was even a 5th secret tower that we'll talk about later. This game isn't just about decks, evolutions, and heroes anymore. Now picking the right tower for your deck is also a pretty big part of the game. And what we're going to talk about is how tower troops changed the gameplay, why the community is so split on them, and whether they actually have a future in the game. So here's the big question I want to throw at you. Are tower troops a good innovation, or are they a clear design mistake? As always on this channel, I'll give you the quick history lesson so you don't get bored, because that is what I do. On December 13th, 2023, Supercell announced that the classic Princess Towers would become regular troops, which meant we had to level them up like any other card. And as you can imagine, people were not happy. Like, come on, man, I already got to take out a mortgage to get my cards to level 15, and now I have to level up my towers too. Gorsh. Tower troop levels are capped to your King Tower level. Talk about the economy later, because that's another topic. Since 2016, Clash Royale was designed around the Princess Towers. Every single interaction in the game was built around them. For example, if you don't defend the Goblin Barrel, it has to land this exact number of hits. Wall breakers have to die in exactly 4 shots. Every interaction was tuned around cards being at the right level, with the Princess Tower as the baseline. Adding new tower troops completely broke this system. Why? Because they literally break the foundation of the game. They're way harder to balance, they can create inconsistent metas, like we saw with the Goblin Giant, and of course, this split the community. Right now, there are 2 ways people see tower troops, and honestly, both sides have a pretty valid point. On one side, you got the haters. There's always haters for everything. Though, hopefully not for me. Wink wink. Now, this part of the community thinks tower troops break the game's balance, that they make certain decks unplayable, that they ruined years of careful design, that Clash Royale stopped being the game they used to love. But I think that's a bit dramatic, honestly. A lot of people do feel that way though. Then you got the other side, and I'm kind of in this camp. Tower troops were exactly what the game needed to become interesting again. Before them, the meta was super stale, same 3 decks over and over, and now there's way more variety. Different defense styles, different attack styles, different ways to build a deck. The problem is, both sides are right at the same time. Yes, tower troops did add variety, and honestly, it's kind of fun seeing cards at level 18, but they also break the balance super easily if Supercell isn't paying attention, even for a second. And to really understand tower troops, we need to look at each one separately. There's only 4 of them right now, so this won't take forever, but it will help you see where we actually stand. Princess Tower, the OG. She's everyone's favorite, she's balanced, she's consistent, she works in literally any deck archetype. Cycle, beatdown, control, don't matter. And that's exactly her problem. She does everything well. Her consistency is so crazy good that any new tower Supercell adds either feels weird or straight up broken in comparison. She sets the baseline too high. Cannoneer, the first tower troop ever added, and probably the cleanest design. It's basically a tower that shoots slower but hits way harder. That's it. You all know how it works, bad against swarms, but destroys basically everything else. If your deck has a lot of small spells, Cannoneer is amazing, but that's the problem. It locks you into a playstyle. Now with Princess Tower, you can play any deck in the game. With Cannoneer, not really. If you don't have an answer for swarm cards, well, good luck. Dagger Duchess. This is where things start falling apart for me. Duchess is designed to stop chip damage, the cheap damage goblins give you where you think, you know what, that's not that bad, and then you blink and your tower's gone. She does that job really well, but the second anything bigger than 2 elixirs shows up at that bridge, she becomes useless. It's super easy to get into situations where you literally cannot do anything. Duchess still sees play in Sparky decks, Logbait, and Prince decks where she covers specific weaknesses. but outside of that, I really don't think she adds much to the game. Royal Chef. Chef's kiss. Now, this one. I think this one is the most interesting design in the entire game. He's the first tower that isn't focused on dealing damage differently. He's focused on leveling up your cards, and trust me, that changes a lot. People already complain about maxed cards in lower arenas. This guy takes that concept to the extreme. For a lot of people, Chef is the only design that is actually worth saving, because at least he brings something new instead of being yet another tower that just shoots differently. And the Secret Tower, Goblinstein Babies. Really quick, I wanted to mention the Secret Tower, the Goblinstein Baby Towers. They were only around for a few months during the Goblin Queen event. They looked almost exactly like the Princess Tower, but with small HP and damage changes. If you spent like 20 elixir playing Goblin cards, the Goblin Queen would activate this ability that was pretty broken. Honestly, it made sense to remove them when the event ended. They're basically just Princess Towers with tiny changes, and without the Goblin Queen mechanic, they didn't really have a point. Now, here is what I think is the most important part: the meta impact. Because yeah, the matchup diff problem isn't just about cards anymore, it's about towers too. This is something the Clash community has been complaining about for a while. Supercell tends to balance the game around the average player, not the competitive one, and in theory that makes sense because, you know, most players are in mid-ladder, but what this actually does is lower the skill ceiling and make the game more samey. And you can argue with me in the comments if you want, but I genuinely think the game went from having thousands of possible deck combos to something way more limited, where your tower decides your playstyle. Which is literally the opposite of what Supercell was going for. The whole point was variety, but if I put the Royal Chef Tower on, I can play like 2 viable decks in high ladder, otherwise I get destroyed. And all of this leads to the same topic anyway: the economy, because don't forget, tower troops have rarities too. And for some reason, Supercell decided half of them should be legendary. Like it wasn't enough that they're already hard to balance, they're also hard to get. There used to be a special chest that only dropped tower troops, but now the only way to get them is through lucky drops and occasional shop offers. And yeah, the King's Journey is fine, but it's definitely not enough. Most of you already know this, but when you hit level 54, you unlock level 15 for the King Tower, the middle tower, for anyone who isn't paying attention. That's where you can upgrade your tower troops to level 15. And yeah, sure, in some decks you can probably just swap in a Princess Tower, but you get the point. If most players don't have easy access to the alternative towers, the game just revolves around the Princess Tower forever. Just like before they added the new towers. That is a serious problem because it makes practicing against the other towers way more difficult. Imagine you finally hit 10,000, 12,000, 15,000 trophies and you don't know the exact timings for Chef or Cannoneer. You're gonna lose games just from unfamiliarity, not from playing bad. And this brings us to the real question. Do we stop adding new tower troops and just stick with what we have, or do we keep adding them and risk breaking the game? I mean, on paper, the idea is great. A new tower, new strategies, more variety, and hey, with the Royal Chef, we actually saw some really cool concepts. There's real space to innovate here. The problem is what this means for the Supercell devs. I mean, thinking about how many interactions there are in the game right now scares even me. And I make videos about this game basically for a living. And if every new tower troop means redoing all those interactions from scratch, that is a ton of work. So what's the future for this system? Let's give some options. Option 1, keep what we have. Stop adding new ones, balance their roles, and make them easier to get so more people can actually try them. Knowing Supercell, well, that's the least likely option. They love pumping out new content, and honestly, I'm not even complaining. New stuff is always welcome, as long as the game's not dead. Option 2, keep adding tower troops every few months like we've been doing. The good, the variety and freshness. The bad, well, everything we just talked about, balance risks and limited deck options. Option 3, evolve them. Yeah, you heard me. Give them an active ability after some time in the match, similar to champions or evos. This could reward good timing and add some really cool mechanics. Same warning though, if they mess it up, it does break the game. Option 4, and this is the most radical, some people on Reddit are asking for it. Turn tower troops into regular cards. Keep the princess as the default tower, and turn all the other tower troops into normal troops that you can put in your deck. Cannoneer becomes basically a musketeer, chef becomes a rune giant type thing. That way we keep the mechanics without breaking the balance system. Honestly, no chance they do this one, but people are asking for it. The real issue isn't adding new stuff. I actually love that. The issue is that every new thing has to fit into a system that wasn't built for it, and the community is still split. Some people want more towers, some want them gone, and some don't even know what they want anymore. But if there's one thing we can all agree on, it's that Supercell needs a clear direction with this. Here is my spicy take though. Maybe the future isn't about adding more towers. Maybe it's about understanding why almost 10 years later, the princess is still the best. If you enjoyed this video, you'd want to know the 2 lore facts behind every single card. Click right here and I'll see you there.